not
I
for
know
the
that
gangbangers.
you're not, but
You
you
know?
have, but this is your business.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying,
You
so,
know that this is gonna happen.
but that's why it's my job to watch out for it and stop it, you know, as much as possible. That's the only thing I can say, you know?
We're talking two different things here, hotel, motel, worker, and truck stop. Why not just build a hotel? If you're worried about a company coming, I'm all for it.
Yeah.
But I'm not all for 200 trucks running 24/7.
You keep mentioning the Holiday Inn as as the hotel. I've never seen a Holiday Inn next to a truck stop. I've just never seen it. Also, with that site plan, it's going to be surrounded with 200 idling trucks. How is that for sleep? Holiday Inn is not going, they're not going to approve that.
There is
that
about
plan.
10 loves across the country. They have a joint venture with the Holiday Inn.
Could you then get a contract from the Holiday Inn to build this before we approve that?
Yeah, it will be, you know, there's.
You'll have a signed agreement from
I have to
Holiday
have,
Inn
I have to have.
that they
Holiday
will
Inn.
put it right there in your plan?
Yes, sir,
Okay,
yes. you
answer
know,
my question.
it's otherwise there is no point talking about Holiday Inn. I already did my homework, you know, they are willing to give me the Holiday Inn franchise. And it's in the works right now.
Who's AVID then?
What is it?
AVID, I think.
There was another brand from Holiday Inn, so, you know, they just came out last year. So, you know.
So it wouldn't necessarily be a Holiday Inn
No, it will
per
be
se.
Holiday Inn. It will be Holiday Inn. That's what I said, you know. The AVID was initially on the play, but after I talked to the franchise, they said go with the Holiday Inn Express. Is a well-known, you know, better-known brand. There's thousands throughout the country. You know, it's a better perception than the AVID, because AVID, this will be like first 5 being built if I do it. So the whole country only have 5 hotels right now, and there's few in the pipeline.
Has there been any study done that would the cost impact of policing a truck stop? You know, the additional police cost that it would require, whether it be cost, police or.
So, are you,
Yeah, I had one more question. And I only ask this out of personal experience. My husband's a firefighter. We don't have a second fire station whatsoever now. Like, what happens, you know, this is a huge facility with traffic and backed up and all the rest of it. What is the plan for that, for fire safety and EMS services?
We've involved the fire station, the police station, and discussions on this plan, and we've kept them in the loop on what this plan involves. They know how many trucks, they know what the site plan is. So, you know, we've tried to keep them involved on the truck traffic, the road improvements. So,
Because I could be wrong, but I mean, like, if a call comes in, which, I mean, their call volume is gonna skyrocket, both departments, police department and the
you know, I don't
fire
know what their operational needs are going to be based on this project, but that's why we've been keeping them involved in this preliminary planning process, so that if they need to do some operational planning, they can. So we have had them involved.
Does our fire department have equipment to go to the 4th floor?
I can't answer that.
I think we've got to find out.
Well, that's why we've had them involved, so that they know. You know,
Is that
they
it,
know
ma'am?
Yes,
this
thank you
project.
for
Oh,
answering.
all right, thank you. Somebody else?
He interrupted you and you didn't hear what you said already.
Well, I mean, that's why we wanted them involved from the beginning, because we know that this impacts them, and we want them to know what is going on and what the project entails.
Because they'll be assuming a whole lot more cost to them, which is going to reflect on my tax bill and everyone else's. For Mr. Patel to have a nice place, but maybe that's
Right.
selfish on my part, but I don't
Right.
care the index money.
Yes, sir.
Do we know whether the mayor and the chief of police have contacted other communities, like the Bolingbrook community, to find out what impact this has had on their community? Have they bothered to talk to them?
We have visited the site, and
Well,
we've
just
talked.
walking around, you don't see
No,
it.
no, let me finish. We've talked to, we've not talked to the mayor himself, but we've talked to some staff people.
And there was no issues.
No major concerns, no. They gave a good reference for Mr. Patel and his businesses that they have in
Okay.
town.
Thank you for answering my question.
Sure.
What, if this were approved, what would be constructed first?
The truck stop.
What sort of guarantee that the hotel would actually come after that?
It's part of the approval thing, you know, there is, you know, it will be all together, so, you know, I mean, I don't know, I mean.
If he doesn't build the
whatever
hotel, we'll
guarantee
make
you
him
guys
tear the
want,
truck
I'll
stop
give
down.
You know, we'll stop we have the power to stop the work.
You know, if the hotel makes a deal, you know, that's, you know, I can give you the every guarantee that you want, it doesn't matter for me, you know, it's gonna happen. This is the project.
I've
together.
heard that more than once.
I'm just saying, you know.
We'll be crafting an annexation agreement, and we can put that in the annexation
Yeah.
agreement.
Because the thing is that
So we won't annex the property.
Is a 3 acre, so it cannot be built without doing the infrastructure and doing all this. So
Oh, I
it's,
understand, that doesn't mean you're gonna build it.
yeah, but you know, that's what I'm saying, so it will go on, you know, phase 2, but it's going for sure, and that could be, you know, my guarantee for whatever they want, I can write it down, no problem. It is gonna happen.
Would you be willing to put that money in a letter of credit, so if you don't build it, somebody else can use your money?
No, letter of credit would be too much, you know, but it will be part of the
I
development,
know.
you know.
Yes, sir.
Doesn't matter for you, what about for me? Talking to you,
Oh, yeah.
you know?
I mean, you know, what can I say? I mean, we can move it, we can give it buffer, I can do a fence, you know, high fence for you. That way it's separated, you know.
You don't understand it. I live out there, I bought the place, because it's out in the country. It's zoned residential. I went to put a building up there, they told me I'd have to change the zoning, I didn't do it. You know? I lived there for that. If I wanted to live next to a truck stop, I lived at Moni. Why don't you put the truck stop up by your house and see how you like it, you know, and then we can be friends. You know, how's that? You
I
know?
understand, but like I said, you know, we can probably give you a thick landscaping, you know, the fencing.
What about all the trucks? What about all the traffic? You know, like you don't see that. I live over there. Them trucks go up and down 88th Avenue already. If there's a reason to go there, truckers don't give a damn about the laws. They look at all the people that get sideswiped and hit. You know, from here all the way to Indiana, every road going east and west is full of them guys. And now you're going to bring them all over here. You think that's, you know, and then you go home at the end of the day and count your change, and we all have to suffer. You know? I mean, what comes around goes around, you know?
Yes, sir.
I'd just like the board to realize that Mr. Patel has zero experience in running a 200 truck stop, you know, and most of us don't know what the effects of a 200 truck stop is gonna do. And there's not one in the area, there's not, you know. And the second thing is that ramp, because it had a railroad crossing underneath it, is totally different than any other exit ramp anywhere else. There's gonna be hundreds of thousands of yards, you know, to be moved of dirt. To be moved. Maybe even that little lake would have to, one of the lakes might have to be filled with it.
Yeah.
You know, it's a ridiculous amount. And we still got the rest area that's supposed to be open over a year ago. IDOT hasn't even opened that. You think they're gonna come out here and fix these roads? That rest stop is almost coming up on a year overdue. That would relieve trucks right there.
Yeah, I don't understand what the
Personally,
holdup is
if I
on
was
that.
Mr. Patel, I
Yeah.
would want my company to do good. I'd want my trucks to be happy coming in and out. They'd be really happy south, those new ramps coming in and out. You can get I have a crew cab pickup truck with a 20-foot trailer. You put 3 trucks on that ramp, and you're already backing up. I live in the Meadows. I have a couple teenage kids driving. I don't want them to stop there in a semi coming in 45 miles an hour, 50 miles an hour, piling into their car. That ramp is different than any other ramp anywhere. Anyone who's ever got out of it. On my way here today, there's an accident right there, coming in right now.
Oh, I know, I get off there too. I see all the traffic, and, you know, traffic is a big issue. You heard us talk about it, and what we do is we just pass on a recommendation to the village board. And I can tell you that traffic is going to be at the top of that list of concerns.
And that ramp is different than any other one, anywhere else you get on?
Yeah, it's dangerous out there. We've had some bad accidents. You know, there's going to have to be some speed limit changes. I don't know why there isn't a light. There probably should be one there somewhere.
And the kids take their dirt bikes and go underneath that old railroad track? They're
Yeah.
coming back and forth in there from truck stop and coming back in the field over there and fishing. Something's gonna get done with underneath that bridge. That bridge's gonna be blocked off or something.
For the record, what's your name, please?
Jeff Fremont?
Thank you.
Is that it, Jeff? Okay. Somebody else? Okay. I think we've taken care of the questions and the objectors. So, I mean, does anybody from the commission have any questions of some of the people that spoke and some of the issues they have?
I wouldn't have any questions, Gary, but I guess I would like to maybe make a statement real quick myself, you know. I'm 51. I've lived here for 40 years, right? We'd be fooling ourselves to say that growth's never going to happen. I mean, you got an interchange in Bourbonnais, got an interchange at Stonkel Road. I work in Moni. I see the truck stops. It's a pain in the ass. I mean, there's traffic like crazy. I have a hard time getting through there. That's a concern of mine, for sure, the traffic. The hen house was there. So precedence was already there, obviously, with a business. And I do think that there's going to be growth that's going to have to come to the area. So that's just a statement I would have to make. I look at the quality of the construction, all the rendering, all the drawings. The quality's there, if you look at it. There is concerns with environmental. There's concerns with an airport. I've heard rumors that Amazon's going to take the airport. I've heard it. Don't know if it's true. But, I mean, I guess my concerns really would be, more than a question, would be the traffic is definitely going to be an issue, I would say. If you look at his drawings, there are a four-way stop there. What that's going to do, I don't know. That's beyond our scope, I would say, as the zoning board, and you know, we're not the ones doing the traffic study. So we're just here to basically try to say yay or nay, I think, to go to the board for the ability to change the zoning on the property. So I just want you guys to know that we're not making the decision on the project. We don't have the ability to do that. We're just talking more over the special use in the zoning. But I would say the traffic would be a concern. The permanent residences, I think, would be a concern for all of us in the town. I'm sure everybody would agree. Bobby's got a huge concern that he's right next to the place. I mean, that's like, you know, heartbreak, but maybe he could work something out with Mr. Patel. Maybe he'll buy the place. Maybe they could put a buffer up if that happens, if it comes to fruition. I don't know. You know, but other than that, I think the traffic would be my biggest concern, more than a question, would be that issue. But again, that's beyond our scope. That's beyond our realm of approval or anything, that we don't have the ability for that. So I just want to make sure everybody understands that when they're talking to us, that's beyond our expertise.
Anybody else? Ken, anything?
No, I thank the audience for bringing up some things that we didn't think about, which is the noise and the pollution. That's something I didn't think about with the west winds. The traffic has been my concern since the beginning of this, looking at it, knowing that when you're heading west, especially in the summer with that sun there, it's a really, really tough place.
Okay. All right, so as we stated, we're dealing with the rezoning of the property. We do have a comprehensive plan, and you know, this type of project does fit into that plan, being right by the interstate.
One question I have: will this come back to us, even if this goes through or doesn't go? If it goes through, does this come back to us for any more approval in planning? Or is this just, once this is approved as a B3, he just goes right to zoning?
He'll go to the
I mean, he'll go
zoning,
right to,
the board,
the board,
right, with the zoning,
because he'll have the zoning then at that point.
right.
So there'll be no stipulations that we can put on it. 'cause it's
Not the
special use.
zoning, but you can put some stipulations on the
Stipulation now.
special use
On the
permit.
special use.
The special use for this, and we have to do that now because of the
Yes.
special use. Okay,
Yeah.
that's my question.
Good question, Steve, actually.
Whew, look at the whole list of them.
Okay.
Good.
Well, because that's what you have to do, you know, because this is the only time, and this is the time.
Right.
Okay, that's good to know.
All right, so at this time, we'll close the comment, the public comment portion of the hearing. And we'll look at these, the items for the request for rezoning. And one of the things that's going to happen for the annexation is when you annex a piece of property, you have to have something already annexed into the village that's contiguous to that property. And so we do have, it's A on the agenda, a request of the petitioner, Alexander is the family name, for rezoning to I-1 Limited Industrial District upon annexation of the property located at 88th and Peatone Wilmington Road, and a recommendation from the Planning and Zoning Commission to the Village Board of Trustees regarding the same. So this property owner, which is on the south side of Wilmington Road, which would be the southwest corner of the intersection, has agreed to annex into the village. However, they want to zone that property I-1, which is limited industrial district, which, looking at the uses of that, is pretty common for that piece of property in that location. Also, they have asked when they annex that we do not tax the property until development occurs on that property, and that's part of that agreement that will be with them.
Just
Okay.
on the local portion, everything else would be, continue to be taxed for the local taxing districts.
So does everybody understand that?
Mm-hmm.
I have a question. Are those people here?
No, I don't believe so. All right, this is PZ 19-P07 to rezone that piece of property to I-1. Is there any discussion on that? Any questions?
Only question I had, Gary, you said southwest
Southwest.
corner, cross,
It would be directly south of the Patel property.
directly south.
How large of a piece of property is that?
You know? I don't know how many acres it is.
It says 20.4 on that.
Right. 20.483.
So it's got to be the frontage as well on the south side then.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And that property must be on both sides of 88th and up to the interstate?
Yeah, it's
No.
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 I'm looking to see, I want to see that more. So the southwest is this portion of the property? And be all this.
Yeah.
Understand.
On the other side.
On the other side too?
Yeah.
What I thought was, they didn't give them.
It goes up to the interstate, I believe, and it's on the, you know, because,
Maybe the southeast.
yeah, because on
Southwest.
the other side of the
Yeah.
interstate, that is part of the village.
No, this is here, yeah, which includes the frontage.
I don't see it.
And the property on the northeast corner where the lake is, that is not in the village.
But the northeast is not in the village yet, no.
No. So in order to be contiguous, this piece of property
Across the street has to be part of it.
needs to be annexed to be contiguous to the Patel property.
I understand that. But I just wanted to see a plot of that particular area that it wants to be. Because we still have-
Option code.
That's what I'm trying to find. Because the way that is it, on this drawing here, is it this parcel of land here? Is it all of this right here? Is it this and this?
Yeah, it's this property over here, Steve.
Yeah, if you look at this here, this is a good drawing.
Did you see where it's from? Second.
Yeah, this piece of property right here.
They're just in southwest.
Well, I'm saying southwest of the interchange.
Interchange, okay, so it's this, all this property here that comes up to that, then not this one, it's this one, so it's gonna.
Right. Well, that's what I asked, if they own this over here, and it's
Right.
not, it's just
No.
that.
It's just that
Right.
corner
It's
there.
just that.
Okay. Did you see what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Probably lose some of that to expansion, if they ever do put a ramp there, you know.
Well,
Right there, in the
that's,
footprint.
you know, that's part of what I was talking about before, because this
Right.
property that he has is going to go right to the corner, you can't change a ramp there. That's kind of what was
I know.
alluding to before.
Yeah, when you talk about it, I know that the property owner on the southeast corner by the gas station was approached when the Ileana was going on.
Yeah.
And the Ileana Expressway actually got to a point where property owners were being
Were
contacted.
contacted,
I mean,
yes.
it was pretty far along
Yeah.
when they put a halt on it. And I do know that property owner was called by somebody and had a contract presented to them for the strip of property next to the ramp in order to put in another lane.
Mm-hmm. And that would be, the way that he's got this laid out, the building laid out, there really would be a property to the west to increase the ramp on that
I
side.
think there'll be some setback, you know,
Mhm.
I think it's,
Yeah, it's pretty close though.
yeah.
And that'll come to engineering,
Yeah.
but, you know, at that point, but if you cut it off now, they can't ever make
Yeah,
it
but
bigger
I think,
because it's all locked
You know,
in.
there's a 75-feet setback, you know, I think, on the Wilmington itself. I think there will be some setback on the ramp too, as per IDOT. You know, probably it will be incorporated into, detailed drawings, I guess.
Yeah, it's just like we talked about before, the site plan could change some because, you know,
They may have to push this over and lose some of this, whatever, the engineering will go through.
there's
all
more
of that.
engineering. I mean, they may calculate that there's more runoff and maybe the detention ponds have to be a different size or something.
And maybe they're going to say, you know what, if they ever do put a ramp there, they're gonna want 100 feet there, so they're gonna want that.
Yeah, and maybe you go down to only 175 trucks.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. Okay.
all right, so on this piece of property, the Alexander property, does everybody understand what that is and why it needs to be, we're going to zone that to I-1? And I'll entertain a motion for that.
I'll make the motion.
Steve made the motion to,
On the contingents that this all goes through as one when it comes in. Do you understand what I'm trying to say?
As one parcel?
No, is it all, if this
One project,
project doesn't go, is it
As-
this whole project proceeds? If this project does not go because of engineering, because of whatever it might be, this would come off of that then and would not be part of the
based on
annexation agreement.
total approval of
Based
the
on total
Patel
approval of the
project.
whole project.
Because if we just annex that one in, then we'd lose the taxing ability if it's, so, I think that's what you're getting at, right, Steve?
Well, I just don't want it to sit out there and be, a
Okay.
commercial piece when that part doesn't happen. Say this doesn't happen now, we've just approved this to be that, and we wouldn't want it, we want it to just go back.
Okay, so only if the Patel project goes through does this get annexed?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Good thought, Steve. And I'll second that.
All right, motion by Steve, seconded by Ken. Steve,
Yes.
Ken,
Yes.
Jim,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
and I'll also be yes. Okay, and then as I stated before, we have then the two parcels, and the smaller 9.12 acres. Well, first let me do this. This is PZ 19-PO2/PO3. Request of petitioner Patel for rezoning to B3 Auto-Oriented and Service Business District upon annexation of property located at northwest corner of I-57 and Wilmington Peatone Road, and a recommendation by the Planning and Zoning Commission to the Village Board of Trustees regarding the request. It's two pieces of property right now, 9.12 acres, which is presently C4. That's where the hen house was, and then the 17.3 acres to the north of that is presently zoned agricultural. In the combination of those, we want to zone to B3. The property is located adjacent to the I-57 interchange. It has been contemplated in the comprehensive plan as highway commercial. The recommended rezoning category supports the proposed development. The current regional trends in development generate truck traffic that drive by that location daily, and a travel center would allow Peatone to leverage the revenue of this business that is suited for the zoning and village, has already planned for it in that location to benefit the residents with its services without having a negative impact. So with that, I will entertain a motion to rezone that piece of property to B3.
Just so we're clear, Gary, so C4, smaller parcel, and agriculture A1 zoning, all to a B3.
Correct. Questions, discussion?
But the zoning recommendation, Gary, wouldn't have anything to do with the special use permit, which is letter C next, correct?
Yes,
It's just the change in the zoning, basically.
this is just to B3.
I would make the motion to change the zoning to B3. Just for eventual growth, no matter what it might be.
Well, no, that's not no matter what it might be, because this
Well-
is gonna be, this is all on the premise of just this.
This
If this
particular-
does not go through, that does not go through, so
No.
that would
So
have
it's
to
only
be,
gonna be changed
that would
based on
only
this
be
to
changed
B3.
for that, if that's what you so wanted. But just to change it just to be a B3, that is not what, I
Okay.
don't think that's what you wanna do.
Well, that's the impression I had, but I'm good with it if it goes through as a B3. I do have some stipulations, like we talked about.
With the condition
on the special
that-
use permit.
Yeah, right, but if you did that, then it would be on the condition that this Patel project, just for that, not just to change it to B3.
So subject to
Right, yeah.
approval.
Subject to the approval of this particular project.
But not,
Yes. Or not any other project.
right, but
At this
not
point,
letter
no.
C as the special use permit either.
But that's
though.
separate.
Right, so we'll be talking about that next, I'm assuming.
Right, and the special use is specifically for this project.
Right,
It
so
needs to
that's gonna be
be-
for that.
It needs, the B3 for his project needs a special use for what he's trying to do.
Right.
I mean,
Absolutely.
eventually, if we were to do development out there, which is the vision, it would most likely be a B3.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's why I'm reading letter B, is to rezone it to a B3.
But we're
Doing
coming
it
to you
for
to
the project.
rezone it specifically for
For
this
this project,
development.
Yeah.
But big picture,
Right.
you know, it's not like the Alexander piece where we're doing that to get contiguous to this
Understood.
piece. If you left, if Patel's project fell through and you happen to leave that piece B3, you know, that would not be detrimental, I don't think, because we
It
would
would be loosen.
eventually be bringing you probably another project,
Right.
but.
And then we can, that project then would be contingent on that going to B3, and you have a little bit more money. That's my point.
Yeah, but if you wanted to put a condition, you know, if you wanted to make it specific to this project, then we would have to come back to you to rezone that piece.
In the future.
Right, in the future.
I mean, it would be better also for the Alexander property that you left it annexed so that we would stay contiguous to these parcels out there.
But we've just already approved that on the basis that it's on this project. So wouldn't this have to be the same? Because
Yeah.
If for some reason Patel went away and but we would still be contiguous and we had and it would be a lot easier that we didn't have to go through this process again if we had a new development come through.
understood, but it wouldn't be contiguous because that would go away. Because that was on the,
If you,
that's on the basis that project doesn't go through, you'd have to
If
take,
you
we'd have to
make
go
it that
back.
way.
No, we've already made it a different way. We'd have to go back and change that now.
if you make it that way now, and the Patel project falls through, then we're gonna have to come back and ask you to re-annex that. If you don't put any, stipulations on that, and you just annex it, and Patel goes away, it's annexed. And we're contiguous to that property.
But that property wouldn't be contiguous to that product because that's going to go away because that's only based on the project going forward. So that wouldn't be contiguous on this because that's going to go away then because the project didn't go through. That was the motion that we had, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That's what you mean.
Yeah, so it's
Right,
done,
So what I
you're
mean
right,
is,
so
it's not combined, so then that
it's
would
your
go away.
recommendation,
Right.
Yeah, understood.
yeah,
But my point is that it would all go away.
yeah.
Is what I'm. Because I'd rather a project come in so that we can kind of go through each parcel of it and not just go ahead and zone it like that. Then this would get bypassed for that. You know, and this way we can look at it a little bit more and have a little bit more control. I guess is what I'm looking at. Okay. All right. Continue.
So we just make sure I understand, so we wouldn't have the ability to do anything if it's not annexed. And it's only gonna be annexed based on your motion, Steve, if the Patel project goes through. So really us changing this to a B3 doesn't have no bearing if the project doesn't go through anyways, because it wouldn't be annexed. Am I understanding that correctly?
Yeah, it would follow the annexation.
Right.
If that property's not annexed, this,
Right, so letter A is all contingent upon the project going through. Letter B to change the zoning can only be done if letter A goes through.
Right.
So really, if the project doesn't go through,
A and
no matter
B
what
are-
we do
Does
doesn't
that make
matter.
sense? Can we do it that way? So basically, when it goes to the village board, if they do approve the project, then the zoning's in place. That's what we're saying.
For
If
that
they-
project, yes.
Yeah, if
But
they
then the
don't
zoning's in
approve the
place.
project,
They
then
don't
the
approve-
zoning goes away.
And the zoning goes away. It's basically what's happening here, because if you
Yeah, we
have this,
can't, I don't think we can do that.
No. I mean, they're separate.
Yeah.
I think they're separate and they're
but
separate
did we not
items.
just, the
Annexation.
annexation of that contiguous project?
You, I
was-
mean, you
Well,
can't
Didn't
put,
we just,
you
didn't we
can't
just put a
put,
stipulation in it?
you
Well,
made
we
a,
rezoned
We
it.
recommended recommendation, we rezoned
Yeah.
the
We
recommendation.
rezoned it, we didn't annex it.
yeah, you,
We rezoned it with the stipulation that only if that project goes through, the
Mhm.
Purcell project is what I thought.
right, that's
Right.
your recommendation.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if they
They
agree
can-
with your recommendation.
So, okay, so if you did this on the same recommendation, they could up or down.
Right. So we'll be
It's
back
still-
to what
it's
we
still-
got now,
No,
basically.
it would still be, no, it would still be annexed in, it would be still rezoned for that. It would just be, we would want it not to go through if it didn't happen, the project, but that's just a recommendation, it's not.
Yeah.
Interesting, all right.
Right, so we have a motion from Jim on the,
Change the zoning to B3 contingent upon letter A being switched to I1 and annexed to the village, right? If the project's gonna go through.
right, we're going back to that, can we do that? We either have to zone it or we don't zone it, right?
Right.
I don't think we can make it subject to things. We,
Well, that's what I thought that we could do, that's what we did it before.
we're the planning and zoning, we're zoning the property.
Or make it a recommendation for.
So, I mean,
it
going
to
back
be-
to that I-1
So
on that, we
yeah,
can't,
we can't do that then, is what you're saying. And that's,
Um,
I just wanted to know that.
no, we can't do that.
Okay.
So we gotta go back to A and,
I mean, I mean, it's still a recommendation to the village board, but we're recommending that it be zoned to that,
To the I.
to the
On that one
I-1
spot.
and the B3.
We're also recommending that it doesn't go through to I-1 and B3 unless the whole project goes through. Is what you're saying we can't do that with that recommendation? I mean, they can, it's just a recommendation.
I mean, that might be a question for the attorney, and if you wanna leave that recommendation in place, you know, we can try to get it.
Yeah, we need some
Clarification.
clarification on
Yeah.
that, because I
We can
don't,
Can we do that with the clarification of the, of the attorney? Okay.
Yeah, we can try to get some clarification
What do you
as far
think,
as.
Steve? You okay with that?
Well, yes and no, because I
We
mean,
can,
that's,
legally.
that kind of puts things at a hold and standstill, you know what I'm saying?
it really does,
It holds
because we're
everything up.
making a motion right now,
Right.
so it needs
Right.
to include what the motion is.
It really doesn't matter at this point, I mean, that's gonna be annexed commercial no matter what happens there anyway,
Right.
right? So,
Yeah,
put in, you know what I'm saying, I mean,
I mean, for development,
it's gonna happen.
It's,
That's what
it's,
for. It's not
for
gonna stay
development,
agriculture.
I mean, I know you want to control what's there, and we all do, and I think we still have that control. When something comes in, if you don't like it, you just don't do it.
right.
But as far as the zoning, I think B3 is a proper
Proper zoning,
zoning
yeah,
for that
for
piece
that.
of property.
Okay.
And I don't think I-1 is a problem either. I mean, it goes a little farther than the B3, and obviously, we had to negotiate a little bit with these people. So they wanted that, but when you look at I-3 and what's included in I-3, it's also a proper zoning for that piece of property. So,
I mean, I would say future, it just makes sense
To be a
to have it. You already have a
I mean,
C4 anyways.
and actually, you could get a project that comes in and it's not zoned, and they're like, oh, we don't want to go through all that, you know? If it's already zoned for a use that's in the comprehensive plan for that area, it may be a little bit easier.
Yeah.
Am I right, Amy?
You're right. It's a lot more of an enticement to get a business to come if it's already zoned. it doesn't necessarily mean they bypass you. It's just one less step they might have to take, and delays they don't have to go through this process again when we're kind of going through it right now. And if you didn't put
I mean,
those
it would all come back and
stipulations-
we would be doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, the
And
eventuality
you're just
of
owning
that-
it the same.
Yeah, the eventuality of that, it's going to be
Right.
some type of that. It's not going to stay agriculture. It's supposed to
No.
exchange, and that's part of what's going to happen. I think that we can all agree on that.
Most likely, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure.
So we have to go back and amend I then?
I would recommend you,
Get rid of that
Recommend.
stipulation.
or you can leave it and then they can just accept it and take off your recommendation at the board.
Okay, that might be easier rather than for him to go through the vote again.
Yeah,
All right.
and just don't put the stipulation on the next one.
Okay. All right, so we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Bill.
Who did the first motion?
Jim. All right, Jim?
Yes.
Yes. Bill?
Yes.
Steve?
Yes.
Ken?
Yes.
And I will also say yes.
Who seconded, Steve?
Steve was second.
Okay.
Okay, now we move on to the special use of that property, and as I stated before, since this is a mixed use on this property, a special use for an auto-oriented and service business type that's not listed in B3 but found to have economic compatibility with established uses on adjoining property, and it is, next to I-57. So it is allowed to have a special use for these combined uses in a B3. So it's a special use for combined uses. Petitioner is requesting a special use permit for a combined auto-oriented and service business uses as part of the Truck Travel Center development, including but not limited to an automobile and truck service station and travel center convenience store and associated truck auto parking, weight scale, and truck wash. The location of this project is adjacent to I-57. Truck traffic is not going through town. The trucks are present already along Wilmington Peatone Road or on I-57. This project is not rerouting truck traffic into an established residential area.
What about by my house? Jesus, what do you think about that one?
All right, so this is a special use, and we can put some things on this.
You had some notes on that, Steve?
I made 4 notes.
Okay.
No permanent residence, as we talked about, right? The traffic issue, I don't think we can really do anything with that per se, can we? I mean,
I don't know that we can put conditions on it. I mean, associated with the special use, I think that as the village, we want to attack the speed limit along Wilmington Peatone Road right there. So that is, I don't think we can make that a condition. I mean, I know we can't make that a condition, but that is something that we are going to be working diligently on when we're working on permitting. So that's, we have to work with WillDOT on that and beg and plead and use as much political capital as we possibly can, and that's what we plan on doing. But that is probably like one of our highest priorities is to lower that speed limit. I can't make that a condition, but I think somehow I would like to, I must be missing a page because I wrote that in the report, but I don't see, I must be missing a page there, but.
In this one?
Yeah, but but it's missing.
Okay.
Maybe I thought it and I didn't write it down.
There you go.
But that's,
Well, what are your thoughts?
other than the, so we can't affect much on the traffic except for on 80 and 88. So if there's something you want to try and put in there as a condition on 88th, we can.
Well, the only thing I would say on 88th that my concern was that Bobby's property literally butts up to the hotel, and you'd have to have something.
But we can certainly put something, a condition in there based on your recommendation. If he hasn't come up with anything specific, you can come up with something specific.
Well, what would you suggest?
I'm gonna
The
let
fence
you,
ain't gonna cut it.
yeah,
You're still
I'll,
gonna be breathing all this stuff, you know, I mean.
yeah. I mean, so you guys, if you wanna come up with something, you know, you can come up with
Taking
something
my country
specific.
living, you turn it into a ghetto.
Or whatever
Yeah,
other,
I don't want to.
whatever other conditions that you
I mean,
guys.
in a perfect world, I'd say maybe Bobby and Mr. Patel should get together, but I
Yeah.
don't know how we make that.
And that could be the condition, if you want to make the condition that,
They come up with an amicable agreement,
But I don't think that's going to happen.
you know, I mean,
I think that I mean, there's no question that all of us would feel the same way as what he does.
Sure,
And there's
sure.
nothing that, other than him not doing it, that's going to be the only agreement that he's going to be able to do. I mean, you could put up 20-foot arborvitaes along that whole wall there, you know, and I'm sure if they put 20-foot arborvitaes along that whole wall, you're probably still not going to be happy in a fence and stuff.
It'd be like Tom Root by McDonald's, same thing. You know, I mean, but he lives in town, I don't, you know, I mean,
I understand that.
you know.
That's what I'm saying. But to put a stipulation on that for your satisfaction would just be extremely difficult.
yeah.
I would feel the same way. Obviously, no permanent residence.
Well, I think we should put it in there
Right.
anyway. We're making a recommendation.
Yeah.
yeah.
Since this is a recommendation of the board, I think
I
we
mean,
should-
that
we
way
should
it's
know.
in there and the village board gets it and reads it, looks at it and considers it. You know what I mean?
You know, and I take at heart, you know, people's concerns on environmental stuff, but I mean, I'm thinking this guy's gonna be living right next door to all the trucks. And they has to come up with some sort of amicable agreement.
What could they
on that.
possibly? What could possibly be done?
Maybe they buy them out, maybe they put up a fortress around there, I'm not sure, that's not my expertise.
But
you know.
it's unreal.
Yeah.
It's unrealistic to even put it in. It is part of that. The special use. I mean, it just.
But you certainly want no permanent residences.
Yes.
Yeah, for
As a
sure.
condition. So how do you want me to word it?
And then,
No permanent residences allowed in the hotel?
right, or on the premise,
Do we have to?
on the premises. No permanent residence on the premises. Because then that would include everything and not encompass everything and not just the hotel.
And did you say, Mr. Patel, that the hotel, the franchise doesn't allow that either?
Yeah, no.
The hotel.
They will pull your flag if they find out that's occurring or
Okay,
whatever, so
Right.
that's another added protection
Yep.
as well.
that's good to know.
I think that's all a definition to extended stay. People
Yeah,
call all
it's
kinds of different
They
things,
have
so
different flags for that, you know.
I think if it's written to cover the
Mhm.
definition, it's expressed a little bit more, it should.
So you're saying I should
Yeah.
use that terminology, extended stay?
Well, I don't know if that's exactly what you
Okay.
should use, but I just believe
No,
that
that's better word than the permanent.
when you're
resident,
saying
yes.
permanent,
The
you know,
extended stay
Yeah.
is a better
No
word.
extended
Yeah,
stay
what
would
does,
probably be
what does
better.
permanent mean?
exactly,
Yeah.
it's all for, you know,
Yeah, should I put
Right.
number of days, you know, this is complicated stuff here.
this isn't the first
There's
village
loopholes.
that probably has this, so.
Yeah.
I'm sure we can find something for that.
So I could say no permanent or extended stay, et cetera, et cetera.
The problem you'd get with any hotel though, there's probably people that come from out of town for work-wise, especially union people that are
Totally.
probably there for a month
Mhm.
on a project. Well, I mean, where do you draw the line? You know what I mean?
Mhm.
I don't know where you could, how you could word it. That's probably beyond our scope.
Yeah, whether maybe they'll leave for 2 days and come back,
Sure.
you know,
Or
and
go
then,
for the weekend and come back and stay during the week
and then they
again.
say, well, I'm not
But-
coming in.
Right.
Well, unfortunately, some of that they can do, that it's not, permanent if they leave for a couple of days and come back. That's part of the owner and what he would have to control.
Mm-hmm.
One of the other stipulations that should be put in there too is this whole project has to be built as a whole and not piecemeal.
Yeah, I would agree with you on
Yeah,
that, Steve. If you're
yeah.
gonna go forward, you gotta have the hotel and not,
It will be in two phases though, I mean, it cannot be together.
When you say 2 phases, what's the timeline between the 2 phases?
So, as a tail end of the, because the site work would be all together, because there is no sense.
The site work all has to be
Yeah,
done together.
yeah, there's no sense doing separate. And then all the utilities underground, everything, and then, I would start with, the truck stop building, and on the pavings and everything, and at the tail end, when we are almost ready to open, I would take up on the hotel.
No.
so could we put
No.
a stipulation? in-
That to me, that's unacceptable. Because and then what is the time frame that you would have before that got built, before you would start putting up the hotel?
The 10 months, because it's only 18,000 square feet building. So the 10 months would be enough to build the rest.
So your plan, so let me understand what you're saying. You want to get this thing up, and you want to get the gas station and the restaurants and that building up and running, and that would be running for 10 months while the
No.
hotel is being built.
No, the day we start the ground work, the 10 months would get me to the opening of the truck stop, with everything.
With the hotel. and
No, the
everything.
hotel takes about 18 months.
Okay.
So it would take
So-
another 8 months after that to get the hotel up running.
No, so it will be too much to handle together because it's 2 separate projects. So that's why I'm saying, so if I start this, get up to the point that, almost ready to open in a couple of months, I would start the hotel. So I would start working with the drawings and, everything else,
No, I don't.
and then
I-
work on the hotel.
That's not acceptable. I don't like how that would work, because I feel that that's going to.
Not to cut you off, Steve, could we put something in there that would say,
Well, certainly, we certainly
upon
could.
rough inspection of the
Well,
truck stop, that the
Well,
ground
no,
must
all
be
you can do
open?
is put a timeline of when you want both of them opened up from the start of the whole project, when they both have to be open. You can do something like that. But to say, one has to start and then the other, the timeline is too open. My concern is that you're obviously going after the dollar factor first, and which I understand that because you got a lot invested in this whole site work, but I don't want that building sitting with the truck stop and the hotel, we'll get to it, we'll get to it later because we want to get this, and I fear that that's the problem.
So I don't think
If
it's
I'm looking
okay,
at the
but-
whole project and you're presenting the whole project, I want the whole project done at the same time. I don't want just, to be honest, the whole truck stop is not with the pollution, with the fuel, with the truck traffic, with everything else that's going to be going on. That's probably I'll say the bad part, but that's the part that's not
Most
So, I mean,
most
put the
favorable.
time frame.
I want the hotel in there, and I want it to all be done at the same time, so that when you open up and everything opens up. You've got the hotel going. You've got, are we on the same ball here? I just can't see you
So the-
doing that
the
and not
timeline of the
that.
hotel is complex because it has to go by floor by floor.
I build all the time, so I know what it has to go
Yeah.
by. So I'm very familiar
So-
with that. So in nature, tell me, they get into big projects, I see them done all the time.
Yeah.
Boom, they're starting on this building, they're starting on this building. You don't have one guy working on this building, building that, and then when he's done with that, he's gonna come over here. You can hire crews and you can
No,
blow that
I
whole thing out.
understand with 2 separate projects we can handle, but that's probably, the timeline would be 10 months and 18 months, so.
So the total would be 18 months, you'd be open with everything in 18 months.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
Could we make a stipulation, Amy, Steve, that groundbreaking would have to be conjunctive at simultaneously?
To open both businesses at the same
I
time.
mean, there's gonna be lag time of 8 months, but if groundbreaking was at the same time, if this were to go forward through the village board and approval process, that would, obviously there's no lag time. I think that's what you're getting
That
at,
has to
right?
be thought.
Is
Steve?
is that
This has to
18
be thought
months?
through, 'cause
Are you
I'm-
saying 18 months for the total project from start till the hotel's complete?
Yeah, hotel will take longer,
That's what I'm asking, from the
Yeah.
start to the finish,
yes,
from the first
yes.
work on the truck stop till completion of the hotel, 18 months.
Yeah,
So you're basically saying it's 8 months difference, 8 months more to get the hotel done.
So I would say simultaneous groundbreaking. I mean,
yeah, that is,
then
it's
you
gonna
have
happen
no,
anyway,
right.
working on the site work together, combined, so.
Could you put a stipulation there on a length of time afterwards? After occupancy of the truck stop, you have to have occupancy of the hotel in 12 months after that?
What's the repercussions after that if that doesn't get done? Because we so often have some things where right stuff like
Then
that.
we've got
in,
we've
and
got a
then
truck stop out there and no hotel.
That's
Yeah.
That's your concern.
my concern is that we'll get to it maybe next year. Oh, we had some issues. We don't have the funding. We don't have the funding for it, so we're not going to be able to do that.
Could
we're
you
going to let the
impose a
hotel.
penalty?
The hotel can't get built until we get some more capital on the truck stop. So that's where I come
Right,
into it.
so
So how do we? What kind of time?
you
what do
got,
we do?
I know, I mean, I can understand with the truck stop, you've got extensive underground work and stuff like that to do. And that is a 10-month project, correct? Okay, so when would you start the hotel?
Like he said, we do the groundbreaking, we do all the underground work together, and then I would start with this building, and then, when I get to maybe 3 months, 4 months into this, I will start foundation on the hotel,
Okay.
and then, try to work both projects together, but definitely this will be, something that I would, be ready and open, and then maybe another, 12 months, I'm very confident that we can open the hotel. So it will be part of the, combined project, but the hotel would be like,
So we're basically a year later from when you get the truck stop opened up.
no. I mean, he's giving me the 12 months, but it will be earlier than that. So, if you want to put 9 months, it's fine.
I was just using an example,
Yeah.
but I felt like in case there's some kind of weather delays.
Because it's 18 months and 10, I also have to.
The way that I see it, I don't want it open and running until the whole thing is completely done.
At the same time, what you would do if this doesn't get to the point and I start, the work and the hotel, gets into the winter months. Sometimes that's, maybe even the next year,
Well, Steve, I don't think we can assume that he's not going to build the hotel. He's telling us what he's going to do. I mean, you.
No, you're right. He's telling you, but if he's saying that he's going to build that first. That's going to come much later. What guarantees do we have that how much later is that going to get done?
Well,
you can pipe all that stuff over there. You can run all the pipes over to it, and you can stop at that point, not put footings or anything else into it until it gets built. I understand that this is going to go maybe quicker. It's a smaller building, but even at that, it's still there.
I'm just thinking he'd be a fool to spend his money to break ground, start putting the structure underground, and then not finish the
And then
hotel.
halt it,
Right,
yeah.
I mean,
But no, you're completely wrong. You're wrong with that. Why would you not just invest in that? You get the approval to go do all of this. Nothing again. I don't. This
No,
don't take it personally.
I'm thinking.
I don't take it personally, but
here,
but-
this is,
where's all your money going to be made? Your money's going to be made on the truck stop and the truck and all this. Your money is what you're looking at is really this right here. The hotel is going to be a benefit to help subsidize this and to bring people in, so that if you have this up and going, and say something comes through, and you know what, don't have the funds to do that. Money fell through, things tightened up, the economy tanked. I can't build a
Okay,
hotel.
how do you want to word that? How do you want to see that worded?
I'd like to see it worded where it all opens up at one time. Unfortunately, you can
It's
just
not
hire.
possible,
Why?
because it takes 18 months and I cannot just sit on the finished building.
Why can't both buildings be built simultaneously? Why
That's
do
what it will start, at least but when you're getting the finished phase, if the hotel takes longer than the building and the bank, the financing and everything would not work for me. It's already done project and, without opening and.
They're
running.
financing the whole project as the project's going to get financed as a whole and not that financed and that separately. They're going to be all together. So when this comes in as a parcel and owned, it's all one. It's not.
Yes, it will be combined financing, yes.
what about the possibility?
Combined title on all of it, and it's all going to be like one title for this whole thing then, right?
No, it could be like different entities,
Okay.
but, you know, it's just the
Yeah.
What about
entities could be like, you know,